right, everyone. So this is just going to be a quick little short. So we are in Orfield, Pennsylvania. And one thing about Orfield, Pennsylvania, there's something that has been here for a long time. We are coming up on, I think, 91 years. And it is Shankweilers Drive-In Theater. What is the big deal about this particular drive-in movie theater? I'll give you a hint right now. It is the world's oldest drive-in movie theater. It is the second one in existence. But it is the oldest one. It is the oldest surviving. And I am so grateful it is here in Pennsylvania. So that was the second drive-in movie theater in existence, and it is the longest surviving at 91 years. And I think it's been continuously. I gotta double check that fact. I'm not sure. I believe it has been. In COVID year, we don't count that. You can count that if you want. It still was running during COVID. But it is very nice to have that it's incredibly nice to have here in town. And that's one of the things I love about Pennsylvania. You have more than one. I have, let's see here, I have Shankweilers, obviously. That is my home one. The first movie I can remember as a kid. I was supposed to turn there. Anyway, the first movie I remember as a kid was The Rocketeer. So if you like Captain America, the first one, First Avenger, that was same director, and it's impressive that that director 20 years later did another period piece, but that's probably why they hired him. Anyway, so that one's a good one. That was a good one, except not in the box office, but we're not going to talk about that. So we have that, and then the second, and then I just remember that place being as a kid. Now, we also have Becky's here in the Lehigh Valley, and I think Becky's is an awesome, I don't know what the heck to do here. Anyway, you have Becky's here in the Lehigh Valley. I have not been to that one. That's the only dual screen one in the Lehigh Valley. And I'm on the fence about going to see, and this is how we're going to tell what time of year it is. Thunderbolts looks really good. It actually sets stuff up in the Marvel Universe. I already saw the post-credit scene, which I'm not going to say what it is, but it sets up other stuff. Like, unlike beginning of Phase 4 or 5, where it was like, we're going to try something. Oh, we've given up on it. So we have Shankweilers, we have Becky's, and we have the Mahoning Drive-In Theater, which you have seen me at. That one is full retro. That one is awesome. There's a great podcast to listen to. I highly suggest that. I'll put a link in the show notes or the description. And I like going up there. This year, I have a problem with them this year. They have so much good stuff. I don't know when to go up. Personally, there was one weekend that would have been a definite, and that is the Batman weekend. You're going to have Batmobile, you're going to have Batman 66, you're going to have the Dark Batman Returns, Batman Mask of the Phantasm. That is a rare one. You're never going to see that in a theater. And then you had the Dark Knight, you had like all the best. And yes, we were by a gun range. So that is, one of the problems they have. They just have so many good weekends. Like Wayne's World was just announced. The Iron Giant. Now that one I might actually go to. And the Iron Giant comes out a week after the new Superman movie. So I go see the new Superman movie, and then I go see the Iron Giant, and I feel the feels. That's the plan. And that's kind of what, like, those are my three options. When I was in Michigan last year, I had Monday night to myself, and I was like, oh, I want to go to the drive-in. They were only doing carloads only at the time. So because they were only doing carloads only, it was like $30 to see Godzilla vs. Kong 2. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. This year they changed it. They have single car people, but I was very busy with an arts and crafts project Saturday night. So I couldn't do that. So I could not do that. And so I ended up not... not going, but they had like, they didn't have the carload. They had like, hey, single ticket, $15. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Like, that's a little high, but it keeps the Ford Wyoming Theater in Dearborn, Michigan alive. They just closed another one that actually opened up like 2018. That closed down again, which sucks. The Cherry Bowl up in Traverse City, that one is still open. That one got new owners. Oh, and a little bit of weird history here. I recommend At the Drive-In, which is a really good documentary. It's about Mahoning. And, ooh, don't you dare pull out in front of me. But it is a very good documentary. And it's about the Mahoning, and unfortunately, I kind of call one of the main characters of it, Jeff. He was a projectionist and the owner. He's no longer with us. He passed away last year. He was awesome, but he had his he had his little I call them little generals, and you had Virgil, who is now running the theater and doing an excellent job. I don't know if Mark is in it. I'll get to that later. And you have one of the other guys actually ended up buying the Shankweilers theater. So Shankweilers was for sale for about 3-4 years. And at one point it came very close to becoming a Wawa. The owners were not getting decent leads. The owners were not getting the amount of money they were asking for. They wanted to keep it a drive-in first. And unfortunately, Wawa was the only company that was willing to give them the money they wanted, probably plus more, but we would lose a drive-in. Wawa had been wanting to be on that stretch of 309 for a while. And unfortunately, Wawa just, fortunately, the other two won. Like, somebody from Mahoning, he left Mahoning. He started his own picture van thing, like mobile thing, which is cool. But he ended up buying it with, I think, his girlfriend at the time. He left the Mahoning, I think, around the pandemic or before. I get a little bit of like it was a mutual vibe. The guys at Mahoning don't say anything bad about him, but I get a vibe that it wasn't mutual, or he was too A-type personality for Mahoning, which is more of a B-type vibe. If you get what I'm trying to say, he was very professional, more of a vibe. Not saying people at Mahoning don't do a good job. They're important. It's a totally different vibe. If you want the family vibe, go to Shankweilers. If you want the traditional, drive-in vibe with like up-to-date stuff, Shankweilers is definitely your place. They do throw in retro, so you do feel like it's in the past. But they show the new movies. The new movies are great, unless it's a really dark movie like Batman. But it's on digital projectors. It's kind of... It's... I mean, you have to go digital, and that's... If you watch the At the Drive-In documentary, that's actually the crux on why Mahoning went retro. They didn't have the funds to go, so we go retro or we close. Because Disney and the other studios at the time were like, yeah, you have to go digital because we don't want piracy, or we don't want to produce 38 millimeter. and that really hurt. Or no, 35 millimeter, 38 millimeter, something else. Um, so it was a really interesting dynamic, and for Mahoning, it worked out just fine. It's now almost 10 years later, and they're still surviving. They're still thriving. I think they're doing better. This year, I think we're gonna have. I know they have their traditional big events like Zombie Fest and stuff like that, but I hope it becomes a tradition. There's a Mystery Science Theater weekend. There's a Muppets weekend. They do other like weekends. There used to be a Hanksgiving. I think they shelved that just because reasons, money, and maybe like the turnout wasn't that good. I mean, it's Tom Hanks. Why don't you go see him? So, yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.